Can you guys hear me? People, can you hear me? Savita, Priyanka?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So today's discussion will be on the first mock. I'm sure all of you have written, the four of you. What about you guys? On online? Did you guys write the first mock? Yes, no? Okay. All of you have written it. Nice. So type in your scores here. In verbal section, how many did you attempt? 24 were there, no? 23 or 24? 23 only. 22. Okay. So out of the 22 questions, how many did you attempt and how many did you get correct? And break it down according to the different sections. I think we had RCs, we had 3 RCs, yes. And then we had, I think, parajumbles, we had 2 parajumbles, not more. 2 or 3, 2, I guess, no? We'll have it here, so go on. Then we had to do alternate summary. Yes, and that was 3. Odd one out, alternate summary. Odd one out, kuda ఒకటి ఉంటేనేమో. I'm not wrong. Let's see, wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. We have a total of 14 questions in RCs, right? And then this is an alternate summary. This also alternate summary. And this is also the alternate summary. So 3 alternate summary. Yeah, I was right. In parajumbles, I think there were only 2 here. This is 1 parajumble, second parajumble. Okay. 2 parajumbles and then 1 odd one out. Okay, 1 more odd one out, 2 odd one out, 3 parajumbles. Okay. Okay. So what do we start with? We have parajumbles, which are again theta. So all of you should have attempted them. Yes. Why? Did you attempt all the parajumbles? Okay. So let's start with what your scores were on parajumbles. Guys, can you still hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
So your voice is not audible.
My voice is not audible. Is my voice audible now?
Yes.
Yeah. So I want to know, in parajumbles, we had 3 questions. Out of these 3 questions, how many did you guys get correct? And did you attempt all these 3 or not? Is there anyone who has left out any of your parajumbles? Okay, right. ఎందుకు? Okay. సరే చూద్దాం. Time and last లో చేసావా? Did you start with RCs? Today? What about you? All correct? All wrong? అదే కొంచెం 3-0 వచ్చినట్టు కదా ఆడు చెప్పింది ఓహో ఓహో నువ్వు నైట్ రాశాను అదే ఎలా రాశావు అవును questions చదవలేదు అయితే నువ్వు. ఓకే అదే క్వశ్చన్స్ మనకి 3 ఉంటాయి కదా. Questions 10. This part is your question. This part is your answer. You didn't read the questions 10 at all. Okay, so half accuracy. Whether you attempted all the 3? How many did you come? How many is correct? What about online? How many of you attempted all the 3 parajumbles? Okay, Yamni, how many did you get correct? Okay, so Yamni got all the 3 correct. Savita, how many did you attempt? How many correct? Okay, Pratiksha also attempted 3. How many correct, Pratiksha? 3 correct. Okay. See, so parajumbles in this paper were not that difficult. What was difficult in this paper was not one left. Fine, 2 RCs maybe. I can say 2 RCs were a little complicated in terms of which option should be chosen. But apart from that, your odd man outs, at least 2 were very easy. As in, you could see it and you could say that, okay, this does not fall into the theme. Parajumbles were also almost similar to that. When you could see, if you identified the theme, your opening would come. And without that, you could form connections between 2 sentences. Like pronouns type of connections were there. She and a woman. So woman becomes the noun and then she comes as a pronoun, right? So things like that were there. So I've seen the paper, I've gone through the paper once. I've not like solved much of it because it was lengthy enough and it was not getting over in 10 to 15 minutes. So my thing with papers like this is when you see that RCs are demanding. See, the first RC was simple enough, where they spoke to you about, I think, the feudalism and science and how scientists are like, peer-reviewed thing. Only another peer can solve the, problems of the first person. And how they compared it to a very medieval European culture of feudalism, where someone else is lending you something and you have to live in that. Such kind of RCs are still okay to attempt. But when even the second one, I think it formed differences between the governments, like socialism, capitalism, and all of that, and the implications that proceeded, how the things changed. And all. The third RC, particularly, I wouldn't be very willing to go forward and attempt immediately. See, the whole point of having these mock discussions is for me not to just show you the question, give you time, Ajanta Kar, that will be there anyways, like our normal class. We'll discuss which answers you shouldn't be putting and why are the outlier answers and all that. So that is separate. But for me, the main focus over here is how do you minimize the habits, faulty habits of testing. To me, that is the focus point of today's class. And first habit that you have to minimize is upon your attempts. And which questions do you have to attempt? If you're seeing that you have 3 RCs and all the 3 are long RCs, like these paper, I think all the 3 were long RCs. I mean, at least for me, I felt like there were 450 words and above. So when you're seeing that there are 3 long RCs and parajumbles and all are only 1 line, simple English, attempt the parajumbles and odd man first. Get some sure shot thing. 40 minutes paper, no? This was, yes, 40 minutes only, no? So in that 40 minutes, spend 15 minutes, the first 15 minutes freshly on parajumbles and all. Because once your mind is tired, your mind is also thinking about, yeah, how do I finish this paper fast? And by the end of it, your mind is also thinking about, okay, how if this paper is this difficult and I'm not able to score, what will I do in logical reasoning and so on? Don't let those factors seep in. For how many of you that was a factor? That I'm like finishing my time. How will I do my LR? Did you think about it? For you, no problem. Like you completed this 40 minutes paper in 40 minutes. Like obviously you'll have to finish that third largest second. Did you get to see all the questions and think about each of them? Yes. No. So where, how many questions do you think you did not see at all? 4 to 5 questions you did not see at all out of the 23. Right. The rest of you online, please feel free to, unmute yourself and speak whenever you can. When I'm asking these questions are pertinent to you as well. So just, I hope that you guys can unmute yourself and tell me what you guys went through in the mock so that we can have a constructive experience. How many did you attempt in Parajungle? Attempted zero. Why? And just know what I was trying to tell you. When you see that the RCs are very long, please come down to paradigms in the first 15 minutes. Ideally, structure your time like this. If this is 0 to 40 in terms of minutes of your exam, keep the first 5 minutes for just reading through the paper and select the questions you want to solve. Okay, select at least 70% of the question. That does not mean you will do it. Don't take it to the ego there. The next 15 minutes is where the real challenge is. Choose an easier section, finish it in the 15. Okay, this should be 60% of what all you have chosen. In the first, these 5 minutes, you must have chosen some X, right? Yes. So this 15 should represent you solving 0.6X. Then this 15 should represent you solving the other 0.4X. You'll be left with 5 minutes of your time. Then look at, are all your answers correct? Okay, give like a 2 minutes to check if all your answers are correct. In the last 3 minutes, go back to the questions that you are trying to solve. And this X should not be less than 70% of the total paper. Very simple mathematical rule of how to crack forward. I know it's idiosyncratic in itself, but yeah, that's how it works. Okay, at least choose 70% of the questions. The logic is if you attempt 54% or 63%, I'm not sure which number, 54 or 63% of that paper with 100% accuracy, you will get a 95 of it. That happens every year. You can see the mock scores and you can not mock scores, you can see the actual CAT scores and decide about it. Okay, so make sure you're choosing 70% accuracy. All of you have chosen at least 70% and done it in the paper. How many questions did you solve? 8 questions. Out of 23. Okay. Very long time you've taken. Are all 8 correct? Why? You don't have a laptop? See, ideally try to use someone's laptop. I mean, it's hardly what 1-2 hours exam total. మొత్తం కలిపి మోస్ట్లీ 2 hours కంటే ఎక్కువ పడుతుంది అవునా 120 minutes and 2 hours ఎగ్జాక్ట్గా 2 hours 15 minutes వేసుకో ఇటు అటు కొంచెం దానికంటే ఎక్కువ పట్టదు కనుక ఏదో ఒక ల్యాప్టాప్ బారో చేసుకుని చేస్తే అయిపోతుంది మొబైల్ ఫోన్ ఇస్ నాట్ ద రియల్ ఎన్వైరన్మెంట్ నో సరే ఓకే సో లెట్స్ గో టు paradoxals ఫస్ట్ which slide was it actually go out and you all gotten the answers to these, no? Solutions, okay. So have you gone through the solutions already? Yes. Okay. You still have doubts in these? Okay, fine. Take 2 minutes. Try to solve it like you're doing it for the first time. Okay? No.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
Sir, can you share the screen, please?
I have this PPT. Wait, let me just check. give me one moment. I'm trying to load this PPT onto my laptop. You done? Those who are online, you'll have to give me a little bit of time. So, see, I'm trying to send the mail to myself, but it's taking a little while because of my network. Try to grasp it through this, but I'll try to zoom it for you for now. As soon as my mail gets through, we can go ahead and share the screen. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Connected outside only. Yeah. So here, let's first look at how are the things starting. We have a few rules, color. Yes, if we go analyze it through those rules, first thing is theme. Let's read all the four sentences. What is he talking about? And how it is given makes all the difference. Okay, so directly I can say that it's not going to be the first statement. For two reasons. The first one is obviously it starts with an and. Second one, it. So we don't know what that it is, and we know that no first sentence can start with an and. Okay. She has discovered that her criticisms are usually welcome and her suggestions are accepted courteously. Cool. Who is this she? We don't know of a she yet. Fine. There are times when adverse criticism is justified. Okay. Now, this can be our first sentence for one simple reason. No other sentence is really dependent, or no other sentence justifies this sentence. This sentence can easily, justify the other sentences. Fine. So let me start off with my three. Once you are done with this, your first step and the most challenging step is done. If you're not able to figure this out, then it's a difficulty. Did all of you do this correctly? The first part? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay. Now, second thing, when we are talking about adverse criticism, it being justified, this is a woman, correct? So she is going to fit to the woman. Yes. So naturally, I know that 4 and 2 are going to come in this order. Now, the only question is, what is this it? This it can be used for criticism. Yeah. So what is the theme that we can see over here? Theme can be criticism and maybe how people respond to it. Yes? Okay. So over here, I know that 3 is my first one. Now the question is, it is 3, 4, 2, 1 or 3, 1, 4, 2. The only question that remains. In this, we can obviously go with 3, 1 and 4, 2. Why? Because it comes off to criticism and it completes the statement. If you look at it, there are times when adverse criticism is justified in itself is a clause, the primary clause. But this is just a subordinate clause, which is waiting for a primary clause. So grammatically also, if we combine them, it will be correct. Okay. Is this clear? People online, is it clear to you?
Sir, uh,
Yeah.
how much time can we take for this sort of sentence rearrangements?
See, for exactly this question, you shouldn't be taking anything more than 1 minute because this is pretty simple. For more complicated ones, something that's a little more challenging, maybe you can take up to 2 minutes.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Just give me one moment. I think I've gotten that file, so I can share the PPT with you all. Yeah. Can you see my screen, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we are going to go to the paragraph section. I think we finished this. Yeah. Okay, let's go to the 19th question. Look at this. What's he trying to say over here? First of all, how many of you don't know who an actuary is? Risk managers. Very simple thing, risk managers. Actuarial science is financial science. Science of managing risk, liability, and all that financially. Okay. There's an MSc degree in actuarial science actually in many colleges in India. So how many of you got this wrong? Oh, all of you got this wrong. Why? You didn't attempt that. See that's where So where do you think you went wrong with this? You couldn't identify the first statement. Okay. Now, fine. For now, what can we do is we can first try to identify the theme of it. Don't aim for too much, just identify the theme. Then let's see what can we build out of it. Okay. Done? All of you? Okay. Now, what do you think is the first statement? Okay, why? Okay, what makes it independent? Because see, if you're looking at it in a different way, obviously, no, we're not discussing the answer right now. If you're looking at it in a different way, one possible misconception that you can have is that 3 will be the last statement. How many of you had that? You had it. Okay. So see, again, this comes with experience. I must have given somewhere around at least 5 to 8 mocks in a year, apart from calling students mocks. So over 5 years, it must have been 40, 45 mocks. I might not be able to tell you the right answer immediately. I'll tell you which one won't be the wrong one. Or at least we'll be able to eliminate options very fast. Okay. Now that test comes not only when you ask yourself what is independent, but you ask yourself which one supports the theme or opposes the theme. is there a sentence that is leading me into the theme or is taking me away from the theme? Are you getting the difference? Yes. In this, although this is not directly in the theme of actuarial science, this forms the basis for that theme to exist. Yes. Why are people so here? You see that they can be in any business, I think. Yeah, they can work in any environment. Here you see different businesses that they can be in. Why do they want to be in these different businesses first of all? Are you getting it? So the moment you ask yourself, is this sentence taking me into that topic or taking me away from that topic? You can see that this sentence is taking you into the topic. Some insurance companies, if I'm not wrong, yeah, insurance companies are getting consolidated, because of which there are less opportunities for actuaries. All right, there are less opportunities for actuaries. Now, because there are less opportunities for actuaries, what's happening? They're going into other domains. Now the question again comes, should it be 1, 2 or 2, 1? Yes, because you can look at it in terms of a definition and an example. Yes, but the problem over there is neither is one a definition nor is the other an example. The moment he says areas include this, people might think that it's an example of the other, but that is not true. Okay, so here what you'll do is you'll go for 3 global consolidation amongst insurance companies. Are we looking at the same question online also? Yeah, okay. So here you look at 3 first, wherein global construction consolidation among insurance companies is reducing opportunities for actuaries. Actuaries are hence looking. So these 2 parts you attach, and then you go for this one. The new areas include general insurance, so you're not branching out too much from the insurance at the first, and then you're explaining why they are eligible to work in all of that. This is just an eligibility criteria for us at this point. Clear? So what would it look like? Global consolidation among insurance companies is reducing opportunities for actuaries, and actuaries are hence looking for pastures outside the realm of life insurance. And what areas are they looking at? They're looking at general insurance, other business in the financial sector that involve putting a current value on long-term liabilities. That means they want to assess what that value is and they want to put it. Actuaries can work in any environment that involves managing long-term liabilities. So from here, you can bring that point in. Okay? Clear? All of you? Yeah, try this one. This is not a parajumble, no? I think parajumble is next. Yeah, this is a parajumble. Okay. Huh? Dahipuri. Dahipuri. ఓపెన్ అవడం కాదు మెయిల్ పెట్టాను నేను అక్కడ వెళ్ళట్లేదు ఇక్కడ ఉంచాను ఇక్కడ స్పీడ్ రావట్లేదు I think I have to change the slide here also, no? Yeah. This is your question. Are you measuring your time? Just like the second time you're taking a mock. See, those questions that you did not attempt in your actual mock, or those questions which you got wrong, put the timer and solve them again. At least you'll get one new way of thinking about that question. Solution కావాలంటే ఈ క్లాస్ రావక్కర్లేదు. సొల్యూషన్ ఏమో ఎన్నైనా రాస్తాడు అక్కడ సెకండ్ దొరికేస్తాడు. But you're coming to this class to understand how I think and how you will benefit from it. No. Yeah, solve it again. Discuss with me. This is why, or this is how my mind has worked. Tell me where am I going wrong with that? Oh, crouch. Third first statement. It should be. ఏంట్రా ఇది అప్పటి నుంచి రిమోట్ పాడైతుందేమో అనుకుంటున్నాను ఇంకా No, see, third one, you again might think that it's the first statement because it seems like it's independent. But the real problem is, why are you talking about that quantum theory in the first place? Now, how do I even understand that? Why am I talking about it? Why should I just not put it as the first statement? When one seeks information of this kind, which kind? Are you getting it? That small part tells us that it's not going to be the first statement. If I'm telling of this kind, that means it's what? It's a demonstrative adjective. You should be able to demonstrate to me which kind of information you want. Where is that? Okay, so now tell me. Second one. Okay. Why? Why do you feel second? Okay. What? Okay. So you're saying that because we are having this part generally demanded, we'll take that as the first one. Is there any other line that's talking about confirmations? No. So is confirmation, is experimental confirmations leading us to anything, or is it taking us away of something? Leading us, keep that as your logic. Don't go on chance. Okay. So apart from experimental confirmations, however, something more is generally demanded of a theory. Fine. So it's leading us into what a theory is and what are expected out of a theory. Then what do we look at? For us, should we go to 1 or should we go to 4 or should we go to 3? You say 3. 1, 1, 4. Okay. You went for 3. Okay. Now, what was your reasoning behind going for 3? ఏదో థియరీ అన్నాడు కిందనేమో మన థియరీ గురించి రాశాడు వెళ్ళిపోవచ్చు. Because in other words, oh no, why? Because of in other words. Okay, so in other words అంటే అదో కన్క్లూజన్ అని అజ్యూమ్ చేశారు. Okay. Yeah, 4 follows 1. Okay, now remember this is about not only the logic but also the meaning behind the sentences kada. When we are saying, see, apart from this, something more is the thing that we are looking from the theory. Isn't the logical question you're going to ask next? What more am I trying to get? Yes. Or immediately are you going to tell, no, I'm going to fail here. You're going to ask, no, what more are you going to do? Chalo, let's forget about that. We have established that 1 4 is preceding 4. That much all of you agree with? No, you don't agree with it. No. Okay, fine. Then let's take this part also. For now, let's just look at this greater demand of the theory. So we are looking at what more, which means what are our expectations. Now, the moment we are looking at our expectations, if we are coming to the third question, yeah, if we are coming to the third statement, I'll erase all the input. Yeah. What is written over here? When one is looking for this kind of something. What kind of something are you telling me that it's directly apart from experimental confirmations, he's looking for something else? Is that your logic for going to 3? So you did not know where to place 3, so you placed it in the second position. Fine. Now he's talking about this kind of. What kind of becomes the important question. So for us now, 2 questions are generated. First one is, what are the expectations? Second question is, what are the kinds of info? Right? So because he's saying information of this kind. Now, this statement is here, this statement is here, neither is answering the other. Definitely these two will be as far apart as possible. Logic. Okay. Now we've already fixed that this statement is our first statement. So let's start off with that. We'll have 2. Now after 2, what's going to happen? We're going to go to this one. Since these two need to be far apart, we're going to go to this one. And what are we doing over there? And why not 4? Because 4 talks about in other words. That means he should have told us what it is beforehand. What is he telling? It's expected not only to determine the results of an experiment, but also to provide some understanding of physical events. And not only what is happening, also why it's happening. Correct? And for that only he gave an example. So here that's a definition and an example. Yes. So you'll go with 2, 1, 4, and in the last it will be 3. Now, what kind of information is he talking about in quantum theories? That's your question. Okay, he's talking about how that why works is not usually stated. What people are telling, but why people are not able to tell. Okay, you get that logic now? Yes. Okay. What are these 5 sentences? Short ones. Easy. Mark your times. Mark your times. How many of you have attempted this odd one out? Okay. Like Alan told me. Okay, how many of you properly attempted this odd one? No, no. Okay, cool. Take your time. Think about it like you're doing it for the first time and try. Answer it won't come. Yeah? You already know the answers, man. Yes. Yeah. What do you think is the theme? What's the recurrent theme in this? Motive. Fine. So goals, motive, desire, whatever. How to fulfill that goal. That's what's happening over here. Did these people give any answers? No, Pratiksha. Not right. No. So see, one way to do the odd one out is first things first again. Sometimes when your luck is so nice, uh, rainbow is out in the sky. There's rain everywhere, but you're not getting wet. When you're driving at a speed of 100 and you still don't crash. Times like that, you get odd one outs, which you can directly tell the outlier by the theme. But in real life, it doesn't happen. Okay. Then what do we do? Should we stop looking at the theme? No. Obviously, here you look at the theme. But then you start arranging them as a paragraph. Okay. If you start arranging them as a paragraph, let's be very clear about one thing. We know that it starts all over here. Yes, no one will start giving it here and then connect it up. First, you'll tell what a motive is, and then you'll use that concept of motive into something else. Ante kada. See, first I'll tell you this is a pen. A pen is something that you write with. I have written on the blackboard with my pen. That's how it will come, right? Yes. So naturally, for me as a parajumble, that method I'm telling you, constructing it, 4 comes and then comes 5. That's how it starts. Now, here we are talking about acquiring the goal direction through learning. Yes. So look at what are the different ways. And we told about that it constitutes a motive. The next thing according to me is that number of possible motives that you can talk about will be so great that for discussion purposes, you have to keep it simple. Now, after you've kept it simple, you can look at the goal towards which your motives are oriented, will give you incentive because that's the end of it. I'm talking about that before this. I'm not putting into use anything about incentives. There's no piece of information that I'm using about the incentives. Correct? So I would rather keep it as a conclusion. That I am leading all this discussion so that I can tell you what incentives are. But आपको motivation होना है, वो motivation you will be turning it into goal, desired behavior and all that crap so that you get some kind of a return. Cause and effect. Clear? So in my mind, the para jumble would be 4, 5, 2, 1. So why did I leave out 3 from that para jumble? First reason, we have to make it only with 4 sentences. Yeah. The second reason, he's talked about goal-oriented behavioral trends. He's never actually spoken about socially oriented behavioral trends in any of the other lines. Had he spoken about socially oriented behavioral trends in any one of the other lines, I would have definitely taken off 4th one as my starting. Instead, 5 would become my starting. Okay. And then maybe I would have gone to 3 and then whatever the 3 is expanding into, whatever social trends it's expanding into. Okay. Is it clear? Yes. So
Sir,
all
in the second sentence, the number of possible motives is so great that for discussion purposes, it usually helps to classify them in some way.
yeah.
So third sentence could be one of the classification.
Third point could be one of the classifications of the motives.
Yes, sir. The affiliate motives constitute the most basic socially oriented behavioral trends. And the other classification was the one that constituted the goal-oriented behavioral trends. These two-
Which classification is about the goal-oriented behavior trends? Motive itself is the goal-oriented behavior trend. No? See, what you're saying could be right. If I'm saying that, one minute. Yeah, okay. So if I'm saying that this statement is written like the XYZ motive consists of this part. Okay. Oh, should I stop screen sharing? Can you guys see my screen at all?
Yes.
One minute. Let me just stop. I'm stopping it. I have to spotlight this everywhere. Yes. So now you can see this, right? Let me just take off the ink from here. Now see, if I am taking this a motive wala thing and I'm saying the some XYZ motive is associated with the goal-oriented behavior trends. In that case, I have classification 1 and classification 2 of the social-oriented motives.
Yes.
But in this case, this is my definition. This line is a definition and it's not a classification.
Yes.
So with just one classification, I cannot think that that will be the main contention.
Okay.
Got it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So clear? This one? Yes. I think so. We are done with all the para jumbles and this one. Yeah. So this also identify the odd one out. Online people, are you able to see or should I share my screen again? I'll just share the screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
This is the one that we are solving. And this is one of the easier odd man outs. How many of you have done this? You've done it, you got it correct. Yes, no? No. Correct? Okay, good. చేసావు కదా కరెక్ట్ వచ్చిందా ఏదో పెట్టావు దీనికి కూడా ఓ ఐదు ఏదో పెట్టు And this- Oh. Lekker మాకున్నప్పుడు అట్లీస్ట్ కాఫీ పెట్టుకోవాలి కదా పక్కన బియర్ పెట్టుకుని రాసారు సుధా నీ పరిస్థితి ఏంటి దిస్ వన్ యూ ఆల్సో డింట్ సేమ్ I think in this exam for parasummaries you got options, no? And those are also theta. All parasummaries were theta. Options is sir. Odd man out will be theta and parajumbles will be theta. Yeah, 5% are theta. 3 parajumbles, 2 odd man out. But parasummaries you got options, no? So tell me. It's a nice simple one. So we'll start with you, Sai. Okay. Give me the order of the parajumble first. Practice అయిపోతుంది కదా కంగారే ఉంది. See, the only short way for you to know that this is the odd one out is if you can actually make a coherent passage with the other 4. That's the only short way. Everything else has a failure rate of at least 1 to 5%. See, even in research, no one can claim that, with 100% certainty you get this. Maximum they'll give is 99%. అలాంటప్పుడు నేను నా లాజిక్స్ 100% అని ఎలా చెప్పాను వాడండి Okay. Even this is talking about the child one. No? So 1, 2, 4, and 5 are talking about child. Right, this is your logic. And 3 is talking about advertisement. Now let's make a small Venn diagram. Okay. Things talking about advertising, things talking about child, things talking about everyone else. I think it's very safe for me to say that 5th question falls in this one. This is advertising, child, everything else. I have to stop sharing so that they can see this. No? Yeah. Okay. Advertising, child, and everyone. 5th one falls here. Now, what about A? First one falls here. Which one falls? 2 falls again here. 3 also falls here. Advertising. 4th one falls here. It has everything to do with children and what they want, but has nothing to do with advertising or the other people. Now, if you look at it, these 4 are talking about advertising in some way or the other. This one is definitely. Oh no. See, this is again a trick only. But I did not want to tell it to you because there might be chances that more than 5 to 6 Venn diagrams come out. అట్లాంటప్పుడు ఏమొచ్చు వితౌట్ షుగర్ లైక్ కదా. Yeah. See, this is a relatively easy question, so we can make the Venn diagram and we can explain it. That's a simple logic. అది అలా చేసుకుంటే తొందరగా within seconds తేలిపోతుంది మీ ఆన్సర్. But again, 95% probability ఉంది actually. There are a lot of idiots, including me, who have gone wrong using this method. When just by reading the statements, we could have understood what's the right answer. Okay. Now, let's go with the normal parajumble method, the authentic one, which is more suitable, for everyone, kind of. Here, definitely, fifth one is the first statement, because it introduces advertising and the influence it has on people, right? Now, how have they had influence on, the kids? No. Advertising influences with toys, clothes, and food. And then you're telling what is on it or the characteristics of it. Okay, first things first, it's ending with children. So logically, it should start with what the children are, taking off from the advertisements. And then you're telling what products. From the products, what all? That's the logic. Okay, are you getting it? Am I going very fast? No. So 5, and then we'll go to 3, and then I think we are going to 1, and then naturally we are going to 2. 2 is the conclusion. The more the commercial is, the more they want the toy. Okay.
Sir,
Now-
but yes,
Tell me.
in first sentence, it is talking about all key factors that have hooked my children on certain products.
Yes.
Then it could also be logical to write the fourth sentence, because if we are telling that hooked my children on certain products, and fourth sentence we see that he or she desperately wants a skateboard for Christmas. That
Okay.
also feels logical, right, sir?
Now, I would be very, very comfortable to put in the fourth statement at the end, provided he told he wants a skateboard because of some advertisement. The
So it's
moment
an-
he says,
Yes, sir.
Christmas, there's an ambiguity, Let's say that you are a child. This is because of advertisements, and this is normal gifts that you get for, like, New Year's, Christmas, and all that. Okay.
Yes.
Now, when I'm taking skateboard, it's taking up this pie of this circle as well. No, not only this pie. So there is ambiguity. We cannot exactly pinpoint which side this skateboard is falling on. Is it really because of advertisements? We have no confirmation of that.
So that
Whereas,
it when as for example, no?
Bolo, for example.
Like because it was told like, for example, her 3-year-old desperately wants.
Okay, but
So it
what
was
is that
just-
example of?
Yes, sir.
No, I agree that he said, ठीक है, उदाहरण के लिए मेरा बच्चे को skateboard चाहिए. But भाई तू किसका उदाहरण दे रहा है?
That hooked my children on certain products.
Okay, and what actually conveys that to me? You're saying that that example is of what have hooked? No.
Yes, sir.
Did they talk about any cartoon characters that are on skateboard, or maybe any other factors altogether that are on the skateboard because of which the children are hooked?
Yes.
No, right? So it will be wrong of me to assume that it's because of those factors. See, definitely those factors could hook children up,
Yes.
which is why the more the commercial is, the more they want the toy. But you have to look at these 3 things together. Okay, it's not only this. Now, this and this does not come on the product at all. It only comes on the advertising part. Right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay,
Fine.
so all of you got this. The order will be 5, 3, 1, 2. Try your best to, get these kind of questions done first. Now, think this is one, which one alternate summaries? Yeah, you guys can go with this. See, the simple logic is if you finish these kind of questions within the first 10 to 12 minutes, you have plenty of time for your RCs and you'll only choose questions that you really want to answer. That's the most important part. Fine, start. You saw this before? You got it right? Good. So share with me your train of thought. ఆన్సర్ చేసావా ఇది లేదా అని ఇప్పుడు నేను చేసేవానికి కరెక్ట్ వచ్చిందా షేర్ విత్ మీ యువర్ ట్రైన్ ఆఫ్ థాట్ సాయి డిడ్ యు ఆన్సర్ దిస్ నో ఆర్ యు I mean, do you feel that you are weak at verbal reasoning section? Okay. No, I mean, is there a reason you started with RCs? Like just అదే ఫస్ట్ వచ్చిందనా నేను ఇంకో ఈ క్లాస్ అవ్వక నేను ఆన్సర్ ఇవ్వను ఇంకో మాక్ రాయి మాక్ 2 రాయి దాని తర్వాత మాట్లాడుతున్నాను బట్ నువ్వు అవునంటే ప్రతిదానికి అంతే కదా వై అదే అయిందనా బ్యాడ్ నెంబర్స్ అయితే కదా వాట్ అబౌట్ యూ రాకేష్ ఏదో అలా అలా చేశాను సార్ నీట్గా అనిపించే అంటే బాగా అనిపించాను ఓ no, I'm thinking you must have read it somewhere before about feudalism and all. The first one and third one? Easy one, sir. Okay. First one was easy. Third one, I don't think it was easy. It will come into average to moderately hard. Hard words another words there. Yeah. Third, yeah, that's what I'm saying. No. Again, remember the class? The first thing that I told you in RC1. RC comprises of two things, reading and understanding it. There's no point in you reading it if you can't understand what's happening. Yes? Don't go through an RC because it's easy for you to read. Look at what theme it is. Which genre is it? What theme is it in? Depending on that, make your choice. Sir, give me an answer here. What's he even talking about? He's saying that when one starts an institution, one opens up an organization, has followers, conducts conferences, writes books, meets people, and does various things. It's very easy for the mind to miss it. Main purpose in the background and be carried away by the books that are written. The glory that comes as a consequence of one's importance, the largeness of the institution, the number of the followers, and the facilities or comforts which are provided to the body and to the ego. Fine. So basically, what he's saying that when a person opens up an institute or something, there's a lot of work that goes on around him. You might forget what's the main thing that you started out, why you started out that institution, falling into the noise of it. That much all of you understood. Physical, psychological, Yeah, psychological and social comfort is what we seek. It's very easy to interpret comfort in a very convenient manner, going on a tangent and totally going on a tangent at like one point. It's touching only one thing. Okay, I want this and that much only. I won't budge, I won't bend. You all of your math students? Yes. Then you know what tangents are. No? Sorry. Like verbally, a tangent is that you're not ready to budge to anything. Tangible is different from a tangent. I'm ముందే చెప్పేస్తున్నాను. Tangy is very different. Tangy is a taste. Okay, it's citrus taste. Tangible is something that you can touch and feel. And touch ante touch ane kaadu. Maybe if I'm telling you that because of you selling me a product, in the next 5 months, you'll get a tangible benefit of 2 lakh rupees. ఆ 2 లక్షలు నువ్వు చూడగలుగుతావు కదా. ఇంటాంజిబుల్ బెనిఫిట్స్ అంటే మై లవ్, మై కేర్, మై ఎఫెక్షన్, బోల్డ్ ఇస్తాను నేను కంపెనీ అమ్మేస్తాను నాకు. ఎందుకు ఏం చేసుకోవడానికి? ఓకే, సో లైక్ దట్. సో tangent and totally missing the point and in a way deceiving oneself. This is something one has to guard against, especially when one takes a spiritual path or a religious life. So now comes the important matter. ఇవన్నీ ఎందుకురా చేయాలి నేనంటే, అరే నువ్వు వచ్చి పుణ్యపురుషుడు అవుతున్నావు కదా, అలా చేయకపోతే హౌ ఇస్ ద క్వశ్చన్ అన్నమాట. And regards oneself as spiritual seeker, a humble disciple of a great master, or perhaps a servant of God. Okay, now let's look at the 4 options and let's start with eliminating options. Same method. First Sherlock, then we'll be going to Watson. First remove everything, then we'll fix what it is. Okay. So social interactions are bound to create hindrances to achievement of spiritual goals. Where did we tell about social interactions causing it? Nowhere. Kada? So definitely we're taking it. The RC 1, 2, 3 classes, if you remember. This is what we've done for all the passages, right? Author cautions the reader against missing out on the larger objectives of life in the midst of physical conveniences. Is it only physical? No. So this is a partial scope answer. Yes, either we should say that, okay, the path of life that you're choosing is taking you away from something, or you should mention that, okay, not many conveniences are included in making a factor of something. Then it's a summary. Summary came more important. What are the 3 important things for a summary? Can you guys see this? I think I've zoomed in a little too much, so I'll write over here. Yeah. First thing, ABC of summary writing. This is accuracy. Okay. Brevity. Clarity. What do I mean by accuracy? What do I mean by brevity? What do I mean by clarity? Ideas? చెప్పండి రా, ఏదో చెప్పండి. Nana Chitti, choose any one and tell me what it is. See, you have all written summaries. I've not told you the characteristics yet, but you've all written summaries before with me. You've seen how we are condensing the ideas and all. No. So think in terms of that and tell me. No, that is clarity. Clarity should be unambiguous representation of the passage. What you're representing should not feel like you're talking about 2 things. Whenever you're telling me that, I should be clear. Okay. Accuracy is when you're indulging all the important ideas without leaving out even one. Accurate information and if you have a goal like this. I didn't know this. Okay. Okay, switch yeah. So I think accuracy and clarity are over, no? Right. Brevity is short, brief. The same word, when you have the word brief, no? This comes from the root brev. Another vocab point for you. Okay? So these are the 3 goals of having a good para summary. Remember them, the ABCs of it. not only here, but later on when you're writing any kind of a news related article or like whatever in your MBA colleges, it will be very important. So Lore, second one, obviously we've eliminated the second one also. Third one, the author urges a spiritual seeker to be wary of the temptations. Okay, see now this is a broad term. All those physical, psychological, social comfort and all that comes under temptations for us. That may deviate him from the path to his divine goal. Now again, this divine goal is a reference to the servant of God or a great master, whatever that is. Okay, and does it tie up with the main idea of our passage? What's the main idea of the passage? That people get distracted by small things when they are supposed to be focusing on one major thing in life. Why do they get distracted? Because of all other whatever it is, what psychological, physical, and social comforts. Cool. So this kind of fits in for our thing. So let's not eliminate this. What about the fourth one? Material comfort that results from achievements and glory lead to ego, eventually obscuring the main objective. Again, there's nowhere that he's talking about ego. Directly also is not mentioned about ego. Glory, yes, he's mentioned. Did he talk about ego also? Where? Oh, okay. So the body and the ego. Okay. We might think about that as achievement. The importance that is placed on the himself, we might think that's an achievement. Eventually obscuring the main aspect.
So your voice is not audible.
So this also seems like a valid option. But the only problem is the crux of the passage is not that. We've left out an idea, so it's not accurate. It's brevity and it's clear. You cannot lose sight of the goal you want to say in the fourth one. Why? Because of material objectives and you're important or whatever you do have. But if you lose sight because of material objectives and the ego, no. Keep losing sight because of all the temptations. Right? So there you have to make a choice between these two, and the clear answer will be C, not D. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah. So we should go this time.
sir,
This one only. We do this already. Didn't do it. I have to change this. Oh, I have to. Guys, can you see this or should I? No, Pratiksha, you're not audible. Pratiksha, can you speak once again because you're not audible to me?
so in the previous passage, I still have a doubt.
Oh yeah, okay, please tell me. Yeah.
So between the last two options only, about the ego. So when we are summarizing, it should, you said it should consist of basis of everything that is told in the passage.
No, I'm saying it should consist. So when I'm talking, so is it related to accuracy that you're asking me this?
Sir?
No, are you asking this doubt with relation to accuracy point that I mentioned?
No, sir, like you said, no, it will, the answer will be C.
Yeah.
Because it is broader, but I feel that the C bit is a little narrower and D bit is the broader one.
Okay. No,
Yes.
so I did not mention about broadness. I'm talking about the essence. So when I'm talking about this particular passage at least, the essence is not that he's indulging himself in something. The essence is not over here. So if you look at it, he's saying that you can forget the main purpose in the background and be carried away to whatever you have done so far. So this part is just the same to me as him writing books or whatever, getting number of followers and all, and just getting some kind of a satisfaction from it. Okay, but what is causing all that is because of this. Why is people or why is this person who starts that institution feeling like he has achieved something or feeling like he has given a boost to his ego? Because he's done some considerable work which is tempting him towards comfort.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so unless that comfort factor comes in, this all things are just something he has done. It's not materialized yet. So to me, this idea, the physical and all of it, the way that you are interpreting comfort is by deceiving oneself. So this point actually adds on to what your material, what is it? Material comforts are and the achievements are.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so material comforts are only one part of it, if you look at it, the physical part of it. But the psychological and social comfort is also what he's talking about, no? So all that together forms temptations. Where is it? Yeah. Which becomes more broader.
Yes.
So if you don't mind me asking, what's your background? Are you an engineer?
No, sir, management.
Okay. So think of it this way, yeah. Not this way, but this question, yeah. Okay. So think of it this way, yeah. You have levels. Okay. You're losing this material comfort, okay, and you're boosting your ego because you have psychological, physical, and social comforts that are eluding you. Okay.
Yes.
Now, this part is a subset of this circle,
Yes, sir.
which is the physical part. So you have a big circle, you have psych, social, two circles inside of it, and you have physical. In this, you're getting your materialistic comforts.
Yes.
So now you can identify which is narrow and which is broad.
Yes, sir. So, but then again,
Uh-huh.
the last two sentences can be said that the author is just advising for the people who are going through a spiritual path. It could just be an advice and not the summary of the passage.
So you're trying to tell me that this guy, whoever he's starting an organization or an institution, might not be this person. Is that
Yes, sir.
what it is? So
Yes,
he
sir.
could be that, he could not be that.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. No. Now here in this particular passage at least, that person, this person will be the same. The simple reason for that is he's not talked about any other kind of a person. He's talked about journey of one person, no, one kind of people. Hello?
Yes, yes. I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
So since he's not spoken about, okay, you could be different types of people. A few people like, may lose their background in, or they may lose their goal in the noise. A few people who are spiritual will follow the divine path and attain their knowledge. Since he's not mentioned any demarcation as such, we're going to accept it as one person. The moment even slight demarcation comes in, then we can say, okay, this is just a sub part. For people who want to be spiritual and religious, they should not get into temptations. But right now, we are looking at anyone who is starting an organization or opening up an institution to be the spiritual person who should not get lost in the chaos.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So shall I move to the previous question, previous one or next one? Which one?
Next. Okay.
Previous.
Thank
Okay. This one only, no? Okay. Answer in the P. Yeah, please start. If you guys are able to see, well and good. Otherwise, please let me know. Just speak out and I'll share the screen again. What's the time? We have only till 8, no? Okay, I'll ask for like another mock round. Or before that, all of you text me which passage did you go wrong in. I'll get free from this weekend. So next week entirely I'll be here. Very, very busy with defending my research. But luckily enough, I'm sure that now I can defend my research. Come on, you're telling. No, this is an easy one actually. The only thing is vocab. The moment you know the meanings of the words, you can very, very fast connect it. Yes? No? Nitish? No? What's a province? I mean, think about it in geography, civics, and tell me, what's a province? Civics lo vinnar kada province ani. Voting ki danki province untai. History lo pon vinne untaru kada. The kings have provinces. What are provinces? Huh? No, I didn't hear what you said. Religion. Region. Yeah, so some kind of a boundary, some kind of a setup that's controlled. Yes, so what can be a provincial mind? Some mind that knows the limits, no? Ante kada. So think like that. Even if you please remember the classes that we've done on contextual vocab. See, in the class, when I'm there, things will seem very, very easy. It will seem like I'm not teaching anything. That's the basis for you to be solving all of it. You see, in the starting, no one will realize what I'm teaching. ఎండ్లో నన్ను ఏమొచ్చి కలిసి వస్తున్నప్పుడు ఏమొచ్చి తెలుస్తుంది అది. మీరు కొంచెం గుర్తు తెచ్చుకోండి. ఇట్స్ కంప్లీట్ కాంటెక్చువల్ vocab over here. There's nothing else here. చెప్పు. Cloistered is open. Claustro again is closed. That's why claustrophobia is fear of closed spaces, enclosed spaces. Cloister is open, like without limits, something that's free. Okay, now, the other rest of the passage is pretty simple. Like 3 years back, I used to tell students, don't do this though. I mean, it's up to you. It's your own risk. But 3 years back, I used to tell them, if you are having some kind of a para summary and you don't know the meaning of one particular word, there's at least 80% certainty that that's the answer. I used to tell them to scare them to learn vocabulary because it's useful at the end of the day. But unfortunately or fortunately, that turned out to be true. 4 out of 5 questions, if you don't know some particular word in that question, that's the answer. Even in this case, because see, what does cloistered mean? Something that's open. Now, if you're restricting it in time, it's unfit to, trans and move. Trans, T-R-N-S, means movement. That's why transport. From one port to another port, you're moving. So transport. That's how the word got originated. I'm not even joking about it. Okay, transcendence. From one state of consciousness to another state of consciousness, you're moving. Nirvana. Right. So you can link your vocab roots to anything here. 2 ways you should learn vocab: roots, context. You do that, you can solve any CAT verbal paper without actually preparing too much. Your vocab and grammar should be very strong. Basis, I think, came from. Yeah, Chapandi. What's he talking about? The longing not to die but to persist forever cannot arise in the mind, which is locked up in time. That means if you've been limited by time, you will not be able to think beyond death. Yes, why? Because you'll think your time is over there. Correct. Thus, it's not the man that's limited by time, really speaking. Otherwise, it's the desire to live long cannot arise in the mind. That means a person is not really limited by time. That means he could have never thought about living longer. He would have just accepted, no, कि हाँ मैं मरेगा, तो कल मर जाएगा अपन. क्यों जीना उसको वापस? Because he's not able to accept that in his mind. Okay, so what kind of mind? He's not even limited to space. Otherwise, the desire to break limitations of the world outside and probe into the corners of creation cannot arise in him. Because he wouldn't have thought about going into different places. The longing to possess the whole world is not possible if it's locked up. So they wouldn't have thought about, capturing other lands. Right. So basically, what's he telling? Someone who has an open mind is never locked up in time or space. That's the end goal of all of that. The only option that really reflects that And again, see, first option we can remove for 2 words, provincial, surpassing. So no one is talking about surpassing space and time. Okay. So what are we looking at? We're looking at breaking the limits. We're not looking at mastering space and time. We're looking at going beyond the limits of space and time. One might argue, isn't mastering space and time the same as going beyond the limits? No, not in this context. Mastering something means controlling. Okay, remember there'll be a difference because it's colloquial language. Okay, yeah. So third one, a mind immune to the effects of time and space incapable. Now see, if you're immune to the effects of it, why are you incapable? If you're constrained by the effects of it, then you're incapable, no, according to the passage. Yes, restraint, constraint, one of these words. Time and space gives rise to the concepts of immortality and liberty to think unconventionally. As tempting as this answer might be, it's not right for one simple reason. We know 2 is the correct answer. But apart from that, the actual reason why that's not right is we are not talking about the mind at all. We have to say if your mind is something, then something else is going to happen. That's our condition basically. So here we are not talking about time or space in the condition. We are talking about mind as a condition to go into time and space. Okay. So naturally the answer will be okay. 2. Clear? Yes. So give me feedback on the RCs ka part, and I'll try to schedule another thing with RCs. Okay. But yeah, keep the doubts coming. I'm hoping in the next mock discussion, the doubts will go less now. Okay. Yes, Pratiksha?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. No, keep the doubts coming, but make sure that those doubts are a little more valid.
Yes.
Okay. But I'm not saying that your doubts are not valid. I'm just saying that we could have looked at the same thing, probably not from different dimensions. So I just think we need to align our thinking a little bit more.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool.
Thank you.
Have a good day. Bye bye. I don't think you have a class tomorrow. Before all of you go, I don't think you have a class tomorrow. You have it on Saturday. Same timings as usual for you on Saturday. And by the next week, I need you to take the second mock as well. Okay. Cool. All right. Bye bye. I will let you know. I won't get free until tomorrow night, but I will let you know. Okay.